Okay, Steve, let me ask you this.
Ask me
really,
this.
honestly, whenever this entire, lockdown quarantine thing started, and it was like events were getting canceled, and we found out that all the big summer festivals and
Right.
tours and all that jazz were cut down. Do you think the guys from Tool were just like, yes, like on the down low? Do you think they were like really stoked about it? Yes, we don't have to tour. Awesome.
I bet. I imagine Maynard was just sipping on some wine, and he was like, "Oh, good." Don't
I
have
think
to
the
do
guys
any
from
work.
Slipknot too were
Sweet.
like, gatherings under 10. We could barely even have band practice.
Well, at least they got masks.
Welcome, lockdown listeners, to a brand new installment of Dad and Lovely, your favorite horror movie podcast and all the known multiverse. Here with your best buds. Why, it's me, Uncle Ben.
Me, Hollywood Steve.
And Steve, I'm sure that you're just so excited to hear the news that just 5 days from now, our brave governor has declared that Tennessee is going to start reopening. It's going to be safe again. You're going to go out. You're going to get yourself a haircut. You're going to get a pedicure. You're going to go to the grocery store and just shop until
All
you
those
drop,
things.
aren't you?
Yep. Yeah, I am now more
Absolutely.
frightened to go to the grocery store. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely so.
because the moment he announced it, everybody was just like, "Oh, okay, well, there's no more pandemic."
Yeah, I mean,
guess,
seriously,
right?
the other day, the parking lot of a local Lowe's looked like it was Black Friday. Like, there was not a parking spot
Yeah,
in the entire lot.
yeah. So it's.
I don't want to get like just total Debbie Downer. I don't want this to turn into something that sounds like, a George Carlin speech or something like that. But guys, just because we're starting to have these dates in the Southeast and other places in the country where we're like, hey, it's going to be okay now, it doesn't mean that it is. Today in Tennessee, we had our highest record number of new cases confirmed today. And they're saying in 5 days, it should be fine. It's not going to be fine, guys. I realize that a lot of people out there obviously are going stir crazy and stuff. I'm very fortunate in that my work has allowed me to stay extremely busy while staying under, quarantine and doing social distancing. I realize I'm very lucky, and that's not a common occurrence for most people. I know a lot of people are stir crazy. I know a lot of people are excited about, cool, I'll be able to go out and make money and pay my bills, I know that a lot of people are excited about that, and a lot of people have to do that.
Right, I know a lot of people are less excited about having to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a choice. I mean, unless you've already lost your job and can continue to draw unemployment, you're not going to be able to get unemployment if you don't want to go back to work. You're just going to have to quit your job. Like, it's not about wanting to get out and go places. It's about not caring that other people don't have a choice.
Yeah.
That's the worst part about it.
It kind of is. And I realize, like I said, a lot of people are going to have to get out there and get back to work and all that jazz. I totally understand. But I would like to encourage everybody to continue the amount of sanitation and social distancing and stuff you've been doing over the past couple months for some of us now. We're going to continue recording the podcast remotely as we have been for the past, 5 or 6 weeks or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, like, we're not breaking this because we have the choice to not. Like, we can stay home and work. I mean, my wife does have to go to work at the COVID floor at the hospital, but there she's protected. Luckily, they have PPE, and they're in a pretty good position right now. So I do worry that they'll get overwhelmed by the number of cases coming up in the next couple weeks.
For sure.
So please don't put my wife's life.
That'd be great.
Risk.
Yeah, that'd
Stay
be great.
home.
If you can, stay the fuck home. And if you have to go out, please continue the amount of intelligent measures that you've been taking so far to stay healthy. And I already know somebody is typing up a review on iTunes being like, they got political again. Listen, guys, this isn't a political issue. This is
There's nothing political about a virus.
This isn't political. It's a biological issue. Okay? So keep that in mind. Even if it was a guy with a blue tie, even if it was fucking Bernie Sanders and Steve Vai did a high five and said, "Hey guys, everybody's safe and healthy again. You can go back out in 5 days." I'd be like, "Guys, no, I'm not going to listen to you all."
And as we all know, Steve Vai, your real stepdad. Bernie Sanders, your real step-granddad.
Just makes sense. Yes, everybody, please do stay happy and healthy and stay the fuck home whenever y'all can. Steve, what have you been doing this week while you've been staying home, man?
I've just been, honestly, getting into a groove of staying home. Like, I'm finally starting to feel better about it.
Have you started working on your original screenplay, How Steven Got His Groove Back?
I have. Problem is, I don't know that we're going to be able to shoot it this year.
Yeah,
but just next year, don't worry. It's going to be me, Angela Bassett. Who else was in that?
Maybe Tate Diggs? I can't remember.
Was Angela Bassett in that? I don't remember. But I mean, I want to hang out with Angela Bassett.
Yeah, she seems cool as shit.
So I wrote this script. Anyway, yeah. So I've just been like, I've really gotten in the groove with the like home workout, but also just been researching.
Yeah, what you researching on?
But silent films.
Why would you do that?
Horror films. Because I got a podcast coming out.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, May 4th. May 4th, the first episode of my new podcast, Legacy of Brutality, will be out. It's, if you haven't heard about it yet, it is bi-weekly. So every other week it'll be coming out, and it'll be coming out in seasons, which gives me the time to do all the research necessary. This season, I believe 6 episodes is how I have it mapped out. And then I'll take a little hiatus, and I'll come back with a new
Lord
theme.
have mercy.
And I got this scorching hot music from Ben Eller.
I've heard of that guy. I know that feller.
Yeah. So, you know what? I'm going to debut it at the end of this episode.
I like that. Yeah. Gives you something to anticipate.
Let you get a listen to the music. Yeah.
Whoa. Listen to my music.
Pretty fucking dope. Ben, what were you going for with that?
You know what? Honestly, I was kind of thinking of what would it sound like if Goblin did a John Carpenter style piece of music. I was really trying to kind of bridge the gap between those two.
You texted me that, and this was after the Friday night streaming chat of about a month ago. And Emily and I were sitting here, and we'd been drinking. And you texted that was what you were going for, and I played it, and we both were like, holy shit, that's what that is. Like, you nailed it.
Well, thanks very much, man.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm glad you think so.
Yeah. So, stick around at the end for this awesome theme song from my new podcast, and check it out on May 4th.
Hey, speaking of the streaming chat, did you guys do a little streaming and chatting this week?
Yeah, the last drive-in came back this week with Joe Bob Briggs and Darcy the Mail Girl. Yeah, the first movie they did was Chopping Mall.
One that I've wanted to do on the show forever.
We'll do it on the show. I mean, I feel like they had done Chopping Mall, or we watched Chopping Mall on the streaming chat, because it was like, I know I've seen it, but it seemed like I had seen it very recently.
Dude, it's just so good you never forget
insane.
it. That's the thing about it.
That's true, I guess. The movie is absolutely insane. It makes very little sense. But the thing is, it went with a theme this week that I've been having, apparently, because I watched Chopping Mall, and then the next day I started watching American Horror Story 1984, which has a lot of aerobics in it.
It's a very aerobic-themed kind of week, huh?
So, aerobic week for me, yeah. So I'm thinking I'm going to look up some 80s aerobics videos and get
Dude, while you're at it, I'm going to recommend that you go ahead and keep this going and watch Death Spa. Have you ever seen Death Spa?
Yes, I've seen Death Spa.
You want to talk about a movie that's a piece of shit that doesn't make any sense.
Terrible.
I love it.
Makes
I want to
no
get
sense.
just like fucking shithouse drunk and do that on the show sometime. It'd be like The Wraith again.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The Death Spa is nowhere near as good as The Wraith.
Somebody did message us something about The Wraith the other day, and I had to just be like, yeah, we were really drunk during that episode, so
positively schmammered.
Sorry. Yeah.
So you watched the 1984 thing and a little bit of Chopping Mall with the gang, huh?
Yeah, and I don't remember what the second movie was. I got a little bit
whoopsie daisy. Look out.
Yeah. So I was pretty drunk, and then I was like, I should get off of the internet, because I think everyone should do that when you get to a certain level of drunk.
Yeah,
right? Just
good idea.
Stay away from it.
What was your quarantine cocktail of choice this week, man?
Oh, just tequila, soda,
lime. Dude. I'm a fan of that, man.
I'm a big fan. So that's what I was sipping on. I know you dropped in.
Yeah, I did. We were watching ourselves a little movie of our own and getting ready to watch Ma and stuff. So we were having some dinner and watching Long Shot. Have you seen Long Shot?
I have not seen Long Shot.
It's pretty good.
Oh, that's the Seth Rogen? Is that okay? Yeah. No,
so it's that movie with Seth Rogen where it's like really funny and he's kind of a bumbling slob and he hooks up with a really, really attractive blonde lady.
Right.
And it gets kind of serious later on, and it's about 2 hours long. You know, that one. One time that happened.
Either Charlize Theron is like way into funny dudes, or funny dudes are way into Charlize Theron.
Could be both,
because she plays that role a lot. I think it's because she is funny. Like, she can step into the role and be funny. Like in Arrested Development. Like, she's goddamn hilarious in Arrested Development. Yeah, you haven't seen it? She played the mentally handicapped chick that ran Britain. Oh my gosh, she's so good, man. Dude.
I really need to watch that.
Oh my god, you have
to watch it.
The
list of like comedy series that I need to watch is like a fucking mile long at this point. I'm like, where do I even get started, man? Because then also we started another new comedy series the other day, man. Kate started watching it before me.
What was it?
And I dropped in while she was watching an episode, and I was like, this seems really funny. And she's like, yeah, we can start it over if you want to. Started watching Sex Education on Netflix. Dude.
Okay.
You will love this show. It is fucking hilarious. It's British. Okay. It's very British.
Oh, all right. So it's just full on Brit.
Yeah, it's not British. It's just full on Brit.
Yeah.
So it's got that going for it. It's got the good, like, dry British humor and stuff. It's quite bawdy. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like a Big Mouth a little bit, in that it's about budding teenage sexuality. It's also got an older and even more attractive than ever Gillian Anderson in it.
Oh, man. Okay. I'm sold.
Yeah.
Love Gillian Anderson.
And she's awesome in this. And dude.
I don't know how she does get more and more attractive.
I don't know what's going on, because honestly, like, I was never really that into her in the X-Files days.
Oh,
I mean, I know I'm in the minority there.
But yeah.
Maybe it's just like the big old shoulder pad suits and stuff like that. Maybe that was kind of what turned me away.
Oh, yeah. Her wardrobe was terrible, but,
Dude, can I tell you about the absolute fucking scariest thing that I saw this week? So other day, okay, and I've been talking about doing this for a while, especially while we were kind of stuck in and just staying in somewhat altered states pretty constantly in the evening since we're at home. We've been talking for a while about, you know what? This might be the right time to watch the hellscape nightmare that is known as Cats.
Okay, yes. Yeah, you mentioned this the
Steve,
other day.
I can't even fucking tell you how bananas Cats is. It is off the wall and fucking sane.
It was insane from the beginning. Like, the concept of it, when Andrew Lloyd Webber was like, I'm going to turn T.S. Eliot's book about cats into a musical, was insane already.
Yeah. And I only
and now it's more insane.
I only learned of what the story was, like a year ago, whenever the movie came out. I was like, what is the story of Cats actually? And you read it and you're like, wait, that's the story? It's all about some cats having a competition to see who can be reborn into a new life, or what the fuck ever, and ride away in a hot air balloon or something? Dude, and the thing is, too, is the movie is seriously nothing but character introductions. All that it is a cat gets dropped off.
That's pretty much the musical,
I guess. Yeah, I mean, it must be. Kate said, though, in the musical, there's even more cats.
This is my name. This is... there are a ton. It's just like they come on, they say their name, they say what type of cat they are, they do a dance that sort of shows they're that type of cat, and then off they trot.
That is Cats in a nutshell. Only it's also, like I said, a nightmarish hellscape that I don't think that like Clive Barker could even imagine how bizarre, how off the wall some of this shit gets, man.
I heard that they originally had buttholes.
I heard that there was an entire cut of it where they had buttholes. The butthole cut, it's known as. And yeah, they had a team of digital artists go back through and take the buttholes out, I guess. Imagine that's your job for weeks. You're just going in there
getting called in to take the buttholes
just scrubbing
out.
Taylor Swift's butthole off of her cat costume. Dude, the level of insanity, I can't even tell you. So like, okay, Rebel Wilson is this house cat, and she's singing her song about how she like teaches these cockroaches to do dance routines and stuff under the sink. The cockroaches like have people faces too.
Oh no.
And they're doing this like dance line number and stuff, and then she like starts eating them.
Oh. Why?
And then okay.
That sounds like a Nightmare on Elm Street.
It sounds exactly
movie.
like a fucking Freddy kill. Absolutely so. And then at one point she unzips her cat suit. Like she unzips her hair suit off. And underneath is wearing more cat hair and also like a sequined vest and stuff. Like she doesn't put clothes on. She takes her skin off and she's wearing clothes underneath. Who fucking made this up? I seriously think that the entire movie exists as a litmus test to find out who's insane and who isn't. Because if I ever meet anyone, I think for... exactly. Like that's going to be my test for every new person that I meet. It's going to be like, oh, hey, where are you from? How you doing? Blah, blah, blah.
How do you feel
Did you see cats? Yeah, I loved it. I'll be like, good day to you. And I'll never talk to them again, ever.
Good day to you.
I don't know how anyone in their right mind could get enjoyment out of this. Also, too, dude, like, it gets racist as fuck at times.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, there are 2 black cats
that's what you need.
That break dance that wear gold chains and high tops.
Oh, well, I mean, wow.
Yeah, just wow. That's kind of all you can say about that. My commentary on that is, wow.
Wow. Okay.
It is just fucking
That's some
garbage.
Michael Bay sounding shit right
no
there.
shit, man. And seriously, like, it might as well just be marketed as an animated movie. It is 99.9% just CG, and a lot of it's fucking horrible CG too.
Probably would have saved some money by just animating.
Yeah, putting people in costumes and stuff, or doing it live,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. There's so many parts where like stuff in the background isn't even really rendered out fully, so it looks like really flat and shitty, like a PS2 game. It's just...
That's great. That's what you like
can't
to
even
hear
believe
about
it.
a major Hollywood production starring gigantic
The cast
names.
is colossal. I mean, it's ridiculous, dude. They have fucking Gandalf in there.
Dame Judi Dench is in there.
Jame Duty, she's called. Jame Duty.
So Jame Duty's in there dressed as a fucking cat.
And she wears a fur coat for some reason, which is cat fur, so I only assume that means she murdered someone and made like a fucking
She murdered another
Ed Gein
cat.
jacket out of them, I guess. Dude, it just goes to such levels of insanity that I'm like, who the fuck does this make sense to? And how is this made by the same guy that did Les Mis? Like, Les Mis turned out amazing, and it's kind of like this masterpiece of musical cinema. It's really good. And then he made this.
Oh, my wife hates
really?
it, and I haven't seen
I mean,
it. Yeah,
I
she
don't really
hates
like
it.
musicals, period, honestly, but I thought it turned out really good.
I don't love talk singing.
Yeah.
Like, just talk.
Tell me about it. You don't have to sing at me about it.
Yeah. But yeah, I've never been interested in Les Mis. I've read portions of the novel, the original novel, and like everything at its core should be interesting to me, but the idea of the talk singing just drives me away.
I'm gonna recommend that everybody just get as fucked up as you can humanly stand and watch Cats. It's such a surreal experience, dude, that even it was about halfway through the next day. Like, we hadn't talked about it the night that we watched it. We hadn't talked about it the next morning. It was about halfway through the next day.
You're just in
shock.
shock.
We were walking the dog, and like, I think I turned to Kate and I was like, remember when we watched Cats? Was that last night? Dude, it is bonkers.
I love those experiences, honestly.
Yeah, where you're like, did that happen, or did my mind imagine that?
Did that happen?
It's something. Like, I knew that it was going to be nuts, and my expectations were far exceeded by how fucking crazy the movie was.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that seriously, like, I think Dario Argento would watch it and be like, that's a little weird.
This is very strange.
Yeah, only a psychopath would think that was normal in any way.
You put the pineapple on a this pizza.
I don't know about that. Man alive. Well, would you recommend that I watch that American Horror Story 1984?
Yes, absolutely.
Is it fun?
I had a blast with it. Yeah, 1984 it's full of all the slasher tropes. So many nods to so many 80s horror movies and 70s horror movies. Definite like vibes of definitely Friday the 13th because it's set in a summer camp, but also like you get like the Halloween vibes. You really get like some of the twists and turns that you saw in a lot of the early slashers. It's a damn good time, and the thing that's interesting about it is because it's still very American Horror Story, so it's like campy and fun and has like a real deep backstory and lore, but it also this is the one season of American Horror Story I've watched and never got depressed.
Oh, it didn't get like too real, like the fucking Cult series or whatever.
Oh, yeah. It gets real. It gets real. Actually, like some of the stuff really bothered me. There's a particular scene where a guy gets put in an oven that was very hard to watch, but it's almost like it makes the campy. It takes some of those campy things that happen in those slashers and makes them more real.
Okay.
So like it has like so much of that, but it also makes you connect way more with the characters, and you actually do like the deaths matter instead of it being like, oh, cool, that chick who took her top off got killed for some reason. Yeah. So it's really good, and it also explores like, you know, the first season of American Horror Story is a bunch of ghosts. If you haven't seen it, there are ghosts in it. This explores that more and goes more into like their day-to-day lives as ghosts, which I found so fun. Cool. Like that's a really cool idea and fun thing to watch.
Man. We'll have to scope that out. We did also watch another thing this week that was pretty fun that I hadn't seen in like a long time. It was a day where we were both kind of doing stuff around the apartment and all that jazz, and it was like, let's just put something on that we've seen before but maybe not seen in a while, you know? So we went on the old Disney Plus and put on Atlantis.
Oh, okay.
It's fun.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I liked it. I remember liking it.
The animation and stuff in it is really cool. Pretty enjoyable voice casting and stuff like that. The mole guy is really annoying. I remember that from before, and that's still true.
Right.
But a good watch overall. Okay. Fun time.
Yeah, sweet. Have to check that out again sometime. Man, I'm so behind on Disney films, and I have Disney Plus.
Oh, dang.
And I just never sit down and think, why don't I watch, you know, The Good Dinosaur? Was that one?
I never watched that one.
And Big Hero 6, I haven't seen that.
It was okay.
I haven't seen Monsters University.
I think I watched that, and it was also just kind of okay.
Yeah. What about Finding Dory?
Never saw that one, actually, and I don't know why, because I like Finding Nemo a lot.
Either. Yeah, me too.
The thing is, though, is like whenever you're sitting down to watch a Pixar movie, you know you're also sitting down to get like kicked in the crotch at some point and cry.
Yeah. I knew where you were going there. That is absolutely true. Yep, you are volunteering to feel like every feeling.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Well, I hope that everybody out there has been staying cool in TV land and watching some good stuff. Everybody, be sure to chime in on the Facebook group, the Facebook page you guys can find, and join up on the group and chit-chat with all us cool kids.
Yeah, facebook.com/Dead and Lovely.
That's the one. I want to hear about what you guys have been watching and using to stay sane in these trying times that we're under right now.
Yeah. Let us know. Get us some recommendations, too. I always at least add a movie to my list when someone recommends it on the Facebook group. If I don't watch it immediately, it's going to get watched. So give us more recommendations.
Yeah, definitely so, man. Steve, let me ask you a question.
Ask away.
How's your whistle doing right now? Is your whistle, is it moistened?
My whistle is so dry.
Oh, it's dry?
Oh, It's dry.
Dude.
It's full of sand.
Mine is too, yeah.
I think there's tumbleweeds in there.
It's a dust bowl in my palate. I think we should probably do something about that and get a poll.
I see some people from Oklahoma heading to California. What?
In my mouth. What do we got to pull on this week, Steve? We got ourselves something tasty serving up here.
We got us a Wago Nuevo Hazy IPA.
Oh, it's the new juice, huh?
Yeah, it's that new juice. And the can looks cool.
It does.
I like the design here.
Got a man doing a graffiti. This is from Discretion Brewing out in California. Got ourselves a 5.6er here.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a pretty light one, 5.6 for an IPA. Mm-hmm. I always forget, like now, because I think back to when I was a teenager, which this is relevant to the movie we're going to be talking about. Drinking back in the day when I was a teenager, we would try to find the highest alcohol beers we could get. So we would drink like natural ice a lot because it was 5.5%.
Look out.
That was so high.
Yeah, that was like the grocery store limit. Now when I think about
that, it's like, now when I think back, it's like, well, that's like a daytime IPA, right?
Yeah, that's just a normal beer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It is kind of funny how quickly those standards change where I'm just like, if it's less than 5%, it's like, well, it's like drinking water.
Yeah. Yeah, and do I want the calories?
Yeah, is it even worth it at that point? Well, this promises here, it says on the can, this new school hazy IPA is loaded with aromas of tropical fruits. Hops, and more hops were added to this beer throughout the production process to create a distinctly succulent IPA with notes of pineapple and guava. You wouldn't be blamed if you thought this was some sort of, quote, new juice rather than our latest IPA.
I'm gonna go ahead and admit that I poured the beer before we even started, so I've just been staring at it and smelling it, and it smells awesome.
What's that smell like?
It smells like tropics.
Ooh.
Like it smells like you just ate a bowl full of delicious tropical fruit.
Oh my, I could use a little journey to the tropics right now because it's like unusually cold and fucking nasty in Tennessee again.
What the hell? But yeah, it's like this hazy orange. It looks juicy.
Oh, it smells great.
Yeah.
I'll get you a pull of that thing. See what that does
I'm
for
gonna
you,
get me a little bit pull of this.
Just tugging on. Just give it a rum tub tugger on that thing. Let's see what it does.
It's got like a light sort of like citrusy bitterness.
Ooh, it does, yeah.
It's got like, it's sweet, but it's not like too sweet.
You can actually like really taste the guava in there.
Yes, you can.
Damn.
It's very tropical, yeah.
That's good as hell. I'm very, very, very okay with that. That's one of those ones I would stock up on if I had it in my availability nearby.
It's a good summer beer right there.
That's really good, man. Dude, I'll tell you what, too. That's not the only hoppy substance I've become absolutely reliant on in these tough times. Did I tell you about my new addiction to that hop tea?
Yeah, I saw that. I thought you were going to talk about another hoppy substance, but all right. Yeah.
I didn't talk about that on the show. I think I just posted it on Instagram the other day.
Yeah. I would love to try that. I looked it up, and apparently they have it at Whole Foods.
Oh.
So,
man.
Might go check that out.
It's by this company called Hoplark, and it is a carbonated brewed black tea that they infuse with a fuck ton of hops. Okay. And it's 0 calories. There's no sugar or any kind of sweetener in it. There is no alcohol in it. So it's just a delicious, refreshing, super effervescent and bubbly black tea with a ton of hops. Like if Lagunitas made tea, that's what it would taste like. It really has like a Lagunitas kind of flavor profile. And it's also got like 70 milligrams of caffeine in it too.
Dude,
But
sold.
You know, if you want a second review on this, if you can believe this, my wife, who hates carbonated beverages, black tea, and skunky nasty IPAs, really hates it. If you can believe that. Second opinion.
I can believe that, yeah. It's strange that all those things that she hates come together to create something she also hates.
Yeah, exactly. Turns out 3 wrongs
How
still
make
a wrong.
See, that's the problem, because 2 wrongs would have canceled out.
That's true.
It was the 3rd wrong that was the problem.
It flip-flopped it back over, didn't it?
Right, yeah.
Now, Steve, the subject of our show this week is a booze-tacular movie. Kind of relevant here. We've been talking about boozing so much because booze is a big part of this here movie. We're talking about Ma from 2019, right? This came out last year.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is a movie about an Octavia Spencer who seduces a bunch of kids into hanging out in her basement with the promise of delicious, inebriating alcohol. So, Steve, I say, before we get into the movie review, Papa, how about we just, let's take a little journey of alcoholic self-discovery right here. Why don't we step on into the Preview Palace?
Welcome to the Preview Palace.
That's kind of different right there. And let's ask the witches and wizards at BuzzFeed a little question. I want to find out which college-friendly booze we are.
Yeah, it's strange that you can't find a BuzzFeed quiz about which high school-friendly booze you are. Like,
I can't imagine why they wouldn't make one of those.
But we did find this one, so let's find out, Ben.
What elementary school alcohol are you?
Yeah, Mad Dog, 2020.
This is from Andy Golder, who is a BuzzFeed wizard. And Steve, he wants to first know, what is our current age? Man alive, I really hate it that we're getting closer and closer to that bottom tier where it's just like 50 plus. Like, after this age, you don't matter anymore. Like, dude, we're only 2 away from that.
You're old. That's it.
Yeah. It should just go from like 30 to 39, which is our category, and then just say old.
Just fucking old. Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, right, 30 to 39. That's both of us.
Pick a drinking game here. We got a beer pong. We got a flip cup. We got a quarters. Kings. I don't know that game. Never Have I Ever, or Drunk Jenga.
Okay, I'll confess, Steve, I'm not really much of a drinking game kind of person, and I've never understood the drinking game because the punishment is you get to drink your drink. And I'm like, that should be what you get if you win, right?
You got to remember that booze used to be terrible back in the 80s and 90s. It's just like...
But you still had to do it.
You still had to. I mean, how are you going to get drunk? So, yeah, you had to have games.
I guess so. I hadn't thought about it that way.
I do like a lot of these games, though. I'm the same as you. I'm not a big drinking game guy, but beer pong's really fun. Flip cup's really fun.
Those are the ones that I've played. I've played beer pong and I've played flip cup. I've actually not played any of these other ones.
Okay, I've played Never Have I Ever and Drunk Jenga. I think Drunk Jenga is just a stand-in for Drunk Any board game, right? Like, I've played
I think so.
Drunk board games.
That's the one that I'm going to go with because Drunk Jenga means you already got to drink your drink.
Yeah.
And the other games mean you have to lose to get to drink your drink.
Right.
That's not fun.
I'm gonna pick Never Have I Ever because it's the only game that is basically just talking, which is all I really like to do when I drink. Like I don't like loud music. I mean, I'm fine with music happening. It's not really necessarily about sitting and watching a movie when you're drunk because you just can't pay attention. I just like sitting and talking, and that's fun.
That sounds pretty good to me, man. All right, next up we got pick some late night fast food. Now I assume this means like, where do you go to whenever it's super late and you're drunk as fuck and you just need some grease and carbs just to kind of soak everything up right here?
Yeah.
We've got a McDonald's, the Taco Bell, a Wendy, Jack in the Box, a Popeye, and an Arby's.
Woo.
Why the fuck Arby's?
Yeah, Arby's is a weird one to throw in there for sure because they don't stay open late.
Have you ever driven by an Arby's and ever said to yourself, man, that Arby's is packed as fuck?
Nope. Everybody on that Jamocha shake run.
Damn.
Arby's has some good shit, though. There's like potato cake things. They're really good.
I mean, not that bad.
Yeah.
I think of these choices, man, I don't know. Where do you go to?
Well, I mean, the obvious choice is Taco Bell because that was the high school drunk food because it was the only thing in Jefferson County that was open when you were drunk.
Yeah, they'd be
open
late and
late or
stuff,
Pops. Right? I don't know if you ever went to Pops. It was a diner.
It's like that pool hall and shit, right?
Yeah, that stayed open 24/7. That place was awesome. I mean, definitely like full-on grease pit, but they had these fried cheese balls that were basically just breaded pieces of like cubes of cheddar. And they were so fucking good. Oh my god, I love that.
That'd probably
place.
do the job just fine.
And you could do a drive-through. So we do drive-through there and order like an ungodly amount of Pops burgers and shit, and just get
holy cow,
so like terrible diarrhea the next day, but so worth it. But yeah, Taco Bell would be for me because like Popeyes is the best restaurant on that list and the place I would want to go, but Taco Bell is the place I want when I'm drinking.
Yeah, and it's cheap as fuck too. Because obviously at that point you're not eating for
Yeah.
enjoyment. You're eating just to like have something to soak up booze in your stomach, right?
Oh man, but yeah, you get a cheesy gordita crunch. Replace that inner shell with the Locos Doritos taco shell.
Look out,
dude! I am telling you,
you're hacking the mainframe, dude.
Hell yeah, that's. I mean, now if I do go to Taco Bell, all I can get is the Power Bowl with no rice. But like, back in the day, it was always cheesy gordita crunch, 2 soft tacos, and an order of Fiesta potatoes. And then I would split the Fiesta potatoes and put half in one taco and half in the other taco.
This sounds like you put a lot of practice into this,
Hell
dude.
yeah, dude.
Ain't no amateur hour in here.
No. We talked about Taco Bell orders on Friday night on the streaming chat. Like, maybe it was last Friday, but I remember we had a long conversation. Everybody was throwing out their Taco Bell order. It seems to be a thing. Once you're an adult, you kind of have a Taco Bell order. That just seems to be
yeah. You've got it down.
Uh-huh.
For my own choice there, I have soaked up many a late night after a show Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich. I've done that more times than I care to admit.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
A good sandwich, man.
It's awesome. Like, it's the best thing at Wendy's. That or a Frosty. Like, you get a Frosty and a spicy chicken sandwich, you've nailed your order.
You're king for a day.
Yeah, Popeyes is the best restaurant on here though. Like, you could go to Popeyes, get a 2-piece dark spicy with I don't know, maybe some fries. I love their fries. Hell yeah,
True
dude.
story. I've never been to Popeyes. Never been to one.
You gotta go. It's fast food, but when you're looking for fried chicken, why would you go to a sit down place?
Right. Yeah.
Like, go to a fast food place. They've probably nailed fried chicken.
All right, Steve, what do we got next on the list?
Pick a college-themed movie. We got Animal House, Pitch Perfect, Old School, Legally Blonde, Neighbors, Monsters University.
Hey, we just mentioned that one. You know what? I will say, from this list, this is one you might not expect. Legally Blonde is actually pretty fun. It's actually a pretty good movie.
I mean, I had it down to Old School or Legally Blonde. Like, I'm with you. I think Legally Blonde's fun. I think Reese Witherspoon's great in it. It's a really fun movie. Why not choose it?
I'm with you.
Pitch Perfect is also fun.
Pitch Perfect is okay. Yeah,
it's
Animal
not as
House,
fun as...
I didn't really...
No, I don't like Animal House, honestly. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
It's not
I
my
understand
thing at all.
how, like, important that movie was back then.
Very
because it was almost like a Judd Apatow movie got made back then.
Yeah.
You know?
It was a big difference in the way comedy was being presented, for sure. And it was worth it.
Yeah,
but
I'm going to go with Old School for my choice because it has a scene that has Master Puppets in it.
Yeah, Old School's awesome, for sure. I haven't seen Neighbors, but I like Zac Efron and Seth Rogen. But I'll go with Legally Blonde, for sure.
All right. All right, Steve, what's the worst thing about college? Is it the 8 a.m. classes?
Well, that's
finals
a choice.
Week? That's true. Yeah, you do kind of make your own schedule there. Student loans, roommates, living on nothing but ramen noodles, or literally nothing. College is great.
Honestly, it's the student loans, but really, literally nothing. College is great. Like, I never had it.
I had a good time in college.
Yeah, because like, I think a lot of people don't realize you can make your own schedule and that you don't have to have a high school schedule. Like, all of my classes by my senior year and then in grad school were all in the afternoon. Just why would you go to early morning classes? What are those for?
Well, Steve, because some of us had to fucking work while we were in college. Fucking trust fund child Steve over here.
Old trust fund
with
Steve.
Your silver spoon. I'm gonna start calling you Silver Spoon Steve.
That's it. Yeah, that's me. Damn, dude. Yep.
Maybe that's what you can do on Legacy of Brutality. On that show, you can be Silver Spoon Steve.
That's me. Yeah, over there, I'm gonna talk like I'm Erwin R. Shyster. Just talk, or like,
nice.
Or the $1 Million Man. Just talk down to everybody.
Everybody has a price.
But the worst thing about college definitely is student loans. I will still be dealing with those the day I die. So,
yay!
Hooray!
For me, it was the 8 a.m. classes because I did actually have to schedule some classes early because of my job and stuff like that.
Yeah,
or just because every now and then there'd be like a class I needed for my major.
Yeah,
and it was only offered at that one spot. So it was like, well, fuck. I hate waking up early. I fucking hate it.
Yeah, I do too. I had to teach an 8 a.m. class and be a TA in an 8 a.m. class. And then the next semester I had a 9 a.m. class, and I would just beg them. I'd be like, look, I know nobody wants the later classes. Why are you giving me the classes that all the other teachers want? I hate these times.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let a man sleep. All right, Steve, we've got our results,
yes,
man. What
do.
are you?
I got Fireball.
You're the modern hip choice, huh?
You're a little bit spicy, but people are drawn to you. I am spicy. That's what people say about me.
Caliente, a little picante over there.
You know how to start a party, but everybody needs to watch out because you're tough to keep up with. Oh, I mean, back in the day, yeah, B and the D when I was 290, yes, it would be hard to keep up with me drinking. Now, not at all. I am lightweight, yeah.
And similar to Fireball, you are full of ingredients that are also in antifreeze, right? Is that on the list?
Yeah, probably.
Now, Steve, I got our college classic party smasher of choice. I, of course, am Jägermeister.
Oh, man.
You don't always get along with everyone, but the people who love you really love you. You consider yourself to be an acquired taste. True story. I don't mind Jaeger.
It's not my fave, but I do not have the experiences a lot of people have with it because when I was in college, I was Mormon, so I wasn't drinking. We didn't drink much Jaeger when I was in high school, so I don't really like it much, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, I understand that. A lot of people like in our age group just absolutely can't even be in the same room as a bottle of Jaeger because they had some nightmarish experience with it in college. My friend Mitch is the same way. Mitch still can't even like smell Jägermeister without like dry heaving. There was a day that we were at the beach. We'd rented this beach house with like 20 of our friends. And it was a day where it was raining and Mitch was just like, we can't go to the beach. I've got this fifth of Jägermeister. Oh. I'm just going to drink it.
Oh, no.
He pounded the whole thing in probably 10 minutes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then also like drank some of somebody else's, and I think he had a beer and a little rum or something like that. It was like a 2 or 3 day long like recovery period, which I know as we're getting closer to 40, that's not that crazy considering I think we've all had like a 2-day hangover at this point.
It's the worst.
But you got to think, like we're talking about somebody who was maybe 21 at that time being under the table just in agonizing pain for like 3 days. That's bad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So
do you have any alcohols like Do you have any alcohols like that like you can't even look at anymore because you've had such a bad time with?
Well, it used to be that way. Yeah. Crown Royal was the one.
Well, I mean, that's just gross anyway.
It is gross. It's not good. So the experience with that was, I may have told this before, my brother came to pick me up. This was December 23rd. I think when I was a freshman, so whatever year that was.
Best of us.
Yeah. So December 23rd, my brother just swings by my mom's place and picks me up, and he's like, "We're gonna go get drunk." And I was like, "Oh, cool." I think it's maybe 14, 15 at the time. I'm like, "Oh, cool, gonna get drunk." This is an occurrence that happened with my brother pretty regularly when I was a teenager. So he drives up to the package store up in Morristown. You know it well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he drives us up there and he's like, "Come on in with me." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, whatever." By the way, I should point out my brother also is not 21 at this point.
Oh, Jesus. But he's bold.
He's bold as fuck. He brings in his 14-year-old brother. He grabs a bottle of Crown Royal and the guy's like, "You like that Crown Royal? You'll probably like this other thing." And it was another Canadian whiskey called Tangle Ridge. And my brother was like, "All right, we'll buy that too." So
the guy behind the counter was like, "You seemed like an experienced drinker with a expanded palate."
Yep, you'll probably enjoy this. He was right. Tangle Ridge was way better than Crown Royal. Anyway, so we're drinking, and we go to some dude's house. I have no idea who this person was because by the time we got there, I was drunk.
Oh, no.
And I remember we finished the bottle of Crown Royal and I looked on the TV and Monday Night Football was starting.
Mm-hmm.
So it was early. So
oh no,
we opened up this other bottle, drank all of that, and also we're drinking beers. My brother, being as responsible as a 18, 19-year-old was, drove us home. We got stuck in a ditch.
Oh no.
I got out and was pushing us out of the ditch, got covered in mud.
Drunk as fuck.
Yeah, we got home. I get out, and my brother does donuts in the yard while honking the horn.
Pro move.
And my stepdad comes out on the porch, and he's like, "You been drinking?" And I was like, "Nah."
Definitely not.
And then I really don't know. Like, all of this was story told to me, but because I don't remember.
Secondhand information.
Yeah. Anyway, the next day, my mom was just like, "Well, I hope you had fun. Your brother tore up my yard."
Oh shit. That's awesome. Making memories, dude. Just making memories.
So yeah, that was very dangerous, but it was quite a blast. After that I couldn't drink Crown Royal. I just could not. It was just such a terrible hangover.
Ugh. It's also just bad. Like it really
does not
good
taste
at all.
good. That is true.
Oh man, what was your like party liquor of choice? Well, I guess all through college you weren't drinking, right?
That's true. And as a high schooler, I preferred beer by far to liquor.
Yeah.
When we would drink, it would usually be whiskey. So like Evan Williams was popular because it was cheap. I remember one time we got a bottle, like we had saved up some money. We got a bottle of 101 Wild Turkey.
Look out.
Yeah, and that's when we all discovered we didn't actually like whiskey.
You're like, this tastes bad.
Yeah. I mean, now I would very much appreciate 101 Wild Turkey probably, but at the time it was just like too much. And
I'm fine with the 101. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I drink mostly just beer, and it was really just about the highest alcohol volume. We would buy a lot of malt liquor, a lot of natural ice. It was
little King Cobra, a little OE.
OE was a popular one. St. Ides, Hurricane.
Oh, St. Ides, dude.
St. Ides was too sweet. I wasn't ever a huge fan of it. It always tasted too sweet.
Hurricane to me always tasted like somebody had already put a cigarette out.
Yes, it did. That is true. I drank a lot of Hurricane, and you're exactly right. That is exactly what it tastes like.
One thing about this movie I thought was unrealistic is that nobody played Edward 40 Hands. Did you ever play that game?
I didn't do Edward 40 Hands, but that would be something you would expect at a party like this.
Yeah. Dude, see, I was the opposite, where all through college and stuff, I didn't really get into beer. Like, I got into beer probably about halfway through college when I started touring a lot, and that's all that a venue would have is like, here's a case of PBR, here's a case of Bud Light or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Because at that time I had you got to understand, I had a more refined palate.
Well, I understand. Those beers are terrible.
Well, here's the thing though, Steve. My refined palate means that my party liquor of choice was definitely Southern Comfort.
Oh, SoCo. Oh.
It's so disgusting, dude.
And
I'll tell you this, like I've never had that experience where I've gotten so fucked up off something that I can never drink it again, even Southern Comfort or whatever. But just on a whim, probably about like a year or so ago, I was checking out at the liquor store, and they had just, like the little tiny like pint bottles of booze and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? It's been so long since I had Southern Comfort.
You want to try it out?
One of those things.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude. It made my hair stand on end, my toes curled. I almost dry heaved. It is so much like fucking cough syrup or something.
It does. It tastes like a cherry cough syrup. They do have like a better bourbon.
There's like 100 proof or something.
That I've had that is actually pretty good. But yeah, SoCo is not one I can drink either.
Oh, so bad, man. So bad.
Too many bad experiences with that. Oh man, cherry Coke and SoCo. I remember having cherry Coke and SoCo.
That was something that I loved, man.
The next day, just feeling like shit because it was so much sugar.
Yeah, that's the thing about all that stuff, and I also think that's part of why so many of us got ruined on Jaeger is like it's syrupy at room temperature. That means it has a fuck ton of sugar in it.
Well, and usually people are combining it with Red Bull, and that is not a good evening, honestly.
I've had some Jaeger bomb evenings that were not successful.
Yeah.
That were very, very bad. Because really, when you mix the uppers and the downers like that, and you don't realize how fucked up you are, that's when you get behind the wheel of a car. And make
that's when you do a lot
decisions.
of stupid shit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always liked Jägermeister and Dr. Pepper back in those days too. Sugar on sugar.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that was the thing I learned early from drinking, was that like those sugary gross drinks are the ones, like, they're easiest to drink, but they're the ones that cause the big, like,
the most damage.
Yeah, the big, like, even as a teenager waking up the next day feeling like absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
And so I'd stay away from that. But like beer has its own side effect of being extremely dehydrating, and like you also end up with just terrible headaches the next day. So I remember at a certain point my friend Brian and I were doing the drink a glass of water between each beer thing.
Ooh, yeah, that's an old bit of wisdom right there.
Yeah, but still polishing off a case of beer. So
over the course of an evening, you drink like 500 ounces of liquid.
It's so much.
Do you think that when we do stuff like that, our kidneys are just like, what the fuck
What
is this?
happening?
What are we doing? Are we drowning? What's going on?
What if they're, but you never know. What if your kidneys are like, finally, they're putting me to use. I'm the real star here.
Yeah, finally, I'm working overtime, right?
So let's
think
get
one of my
movie.
other like.
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, can I tell you one of my other like most disgusting party combinations that I could never ever do again?
Let's hear it.
So we had this thing that we called the Classy.
Oh no.
The Classy was a party drink of choice. We used to host a lot of parties back in the day, and the Classy was always something that would make an appearance. That's just good old-fashioned Mountain Dew and vodka.
Oh, God. That is classy.
I mean,
that is pure
like
class.
My stomach turns just thinking about that.
Yeah. Class.
I'm pretty sure I couldn't be in the room with somebody drinking that and not get a hangover now, though. Man.
I just think back to the shit we did and drank as teenagers and how stupid we were and how lucky we were to survive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the resilient bodies of young people are all that got us through that.
For real.
For fucking sure, man. And there was also all those too. I don't know what just brought this to mind. I guess just thinking about all the college boozing that we did. There's a few of those that didn't make the cut. Like we still have stuff like Jägermeister. We still have a lot of these things that we drank back in the day. You can still get fucking, Parrot Bay coconut rum and stuff like that, right?
All that stuff.
But there was a couple that I've not seen in about a fucking decade minimum. I want you to tell me if you remember these. You remember a Hypnotic?
Yes. I remember
it was like drinking perfume.
It was in like a number of rap songs. Yeah, that stuff was gross.
Yeah, and Alizé. You remember Alizé?
Alizé, yeah, hell yeah.
That's another one that I think
that was also in a lot
extinct.
of rap songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess what we're saying is liquor companies invest in putting your product in rap songs.
Yeah,
people listen. Then they go buy the shit.
That's true.
Oh, the good old days. I don't miss that really.
No, not at all.
All right, Steve, the subject of our show today is more than just getting fucking lit up. It's Ma.
Hey, Ma.
From 20 and 19. Hey, Ma.
Ma. Hey.
And this is my first time watching this flick, but you had seen this once or twice before, haven't you?
Yeah. Whenever it came out, basically, I watched it. Not in theaters. Whenever it came out on demand or whatever, I watched it and enjoyed it. I was surprised by it because a lot of what was making me apprehensive about going to the theaters to see it was it seemed like everything was kind of revealed in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I'd say that too much is definitely revealed in the trailer, but
yeah,
it has a lot more to it than just what's in the trailer, for sure.
I mean, the depth of performance and stuff.
Yeah.
I can see what you mean. Yeah, whenever I watched this movie, I definitely felt like I had already seen everything. The trailer spelled absolutely everything out. It seems like every little bump and jump scare and stuff like that, every suspenseful bit from this movie I had already seen.
And
I really wish that I wouldn't have watched a trailer for this because, as we said so many times, especially when you're dealing with horror, where like the suspense and the surprise is why you're there, you know? Watching a trailer can just ruin a movie for you.
Yeah, it can, and especially when it's a Blumhouse production, it seems that they do that so much with the trailers for their movies. I'm not really sure like what's going on with their marketing department, why they do that. Maybe, I mean, I'm sure they've got the research to back up why they're doing it. It's definitely got to be drawing people out or working in some way. Otherwise, they wouldn't.
Well, I mean, they're making money, so
yeah, they're making a lot of money. Yeah.
I just think if they started making trailers for like, let's say those people did the trailer for classic M. Night Shyamalan movies, where it'd be like, in a world where Bruce Willis sees ghosts.
Wait, well,
he's actually dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like they do The Village, and it's like, in a world where people live in an isolated village as though it's actually the past, but it's the present.
Yes. And don't worry about those creatures they're talking about. They're not real.
Spoiled the whole movie.
No, it's good. Go watch it.
Yeah, let's go see it. Yes, trailer definitely did kind of ruin this for me though.
Yeah, it messes it just gives you too much. But the movie is really just about Octavia Spencer being awesome at acting. Like that,
she's a tour de force.
Right. And let me back that up with some proof.
Back that thing up.
In 1997, a friend of Octavia Spencer's advised her to move to Los Angeles. That friend's name, Tate Taylor. Guess who directed this movie? Tate Taylor.
The very same.
Guess what other movie he directed? The Help. Guess what she got an Academy Award for? The Help. These people are friends. What's going on here?
It seems that way.
Yeah. It seems that Octavia Spencer was talking to Tate Taylor one day and saying that she was just tired of getting offered the same roles over and over and never getting offered the lead. And Tate Taylor was like, I'm going to file that away. He was also looking to make something fucked up. He did The Help. He did Get On Up, the James Brown biopic. Like, he had done the several movies, and he wanted to do just something real fucked up. So,
I mean, some fucked up stuff happens in The Help. People eat a shit pie.
That is true. That is true. But so he went to his pal Jason Blum and told him he wanted to make a fucked up movie, and Jason Blum said, "Well, we just bought this script yesterday by this guy Scotty Landis." And he gave it to him, and he started looking at it, and he went out in the hall, and he called Octavia Spencer and said, "Do you want to be in a horror movie?" And she said yes, without any pitch about what the movie was or anything. So
nice.
Basically, all this just came together really perfectly in the right moment. And became this opportunity for Tate Taylor to show off how good his friend is, and to give us, finally, a really viable black female villain in a horror movie.
That is kind of a rarity now that you mention it that way. Yeah, I was even thinking earlier, I was like, black horror villains, and it's like obviously Candyman and stuff like that, but
Bones.
Yeah, black female ones, not really a lot of anything.
Not really a lot, yeah. So she got her opportunity to shine, because this movie is entirely focused on her. She is the A story, the B story and C story are about her. Like, it's all just her and how good she is at turning on a dime and going from happy to like intense in just a moment. Like, it's all about showing us how awesome Octavia Spencer is. It's an advertisement for how great she is.
And it's kind of blowing my mind that this was her debut, like, starring role.
Yeah, leading
in
role,
a movie. Because
yeah.
I feel like she's been a feature in movies for so long.
Yeah,
and
over
she's always
20
popping
years,
up as these, like, she's always popping up mainly as these background characters and side characters that are very memorable, even if they don't have much to do with it. Like, I always think about her in, like, Bad Santa.
Right.
He's like, fuck your kinky ass, Willie. After last time I was with you, I didn't shit right for a week or whatever. Like, whatever she's doing, even if it's just very minor, it's always like super memorable and extremely well done. So it blows my mind that this is the first time that she really got to star, you know?
Yeah.
And She's absolutely the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. And she's like really smart about picking her roles as well. Like she's so memorable in everything she does. Like she's great. So yeah, it's awesome that finally she got this chance to just be the center of attention. But to do that, normally you put a cast around a person that are maybe lesser known. Instead of doing that, they were like, no, we're going to show you how awesome Octavia Spencer is and surround her with people that are also awesome.
Yeah, I did not know that this cast had so many like heavy hitters in it.
Yeah.
Like as I'm watching the movie, I'm just like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
They're in this too?
Yeah.
I thought it was just an Octavia movie.
Yeah, like, I mean, her with the kids, obviously, she outshines them, but she should. Like, that just is the way it is. The adults should appear to be the more put together of all the actors.
Yeah.
But
like Juliette Lewis is like the first person that we see in the movie. And I'm like, what the fuck is she
Juliette
doing in here?
Lewis is in this fucking movie. Allison Janney is in this fucking movie, just in the background.
She's amazing.
She's so good. I love Allison Janney, and she just stays in the background most of the time. You barely see her.
It's so weird to me, though. Like, they got her in this movie,
Yeah.
and literally all she does is go, Sue-Ann, get off your phone.
Yep.
Like, that's
and
all
then
that
get
she's
killed
there to
eventually.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you could have had anybody play that part.
Well, and this goes back to friendships. Again, Allison Janney was in a previous movie by Tate Taylor, and Allison Janney and Octavia Spencer had been on Mom together, so they had developed a relationship. So that's how you get Allison Janney to come in and do this tiny little role. I don't know if I couldn't find any connection. I think Juliette Lewis just got cast. Luke Evans, same thing. I think they just got cast. Missy Pyle is so great in this. Like, I love that you get this woman who is just this over-the-top drunk, and her death is the most outrageous moment in the movie.
Without a doubt, man. And she's one of those people, too, where, like, even when you said her name, I was like, which one is she?
Yeah, right.
But she's a woman that you've seen in a million movies. She's in a ton of shit, man.
She and Octavia Spencer share the quality of not only being really great, but being unique looking, which is what tends to get you a lot of roles. And they both have worked a lot because they're both really great actresses, but they look unique. They stand out in comparison to everyone else. Yeah, Missy Pyle, you've seen her in a ton of stuff. Galaxy Quest is the first thing that comes to mind for me.
Oh,
that's like one of her
that's
earliest
right.
roles. But like,
with Tim Allen, right?
Yes, with Tim Allen. But she was also in Dodgeball. She plays like the chick with the unibrow or whatever.
Wait.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's her.
Holy shit. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Missy
She looks
Pyle's
so
awesome.
different in that.
I know. She can.
A unibrow really changes a face.
It really does. It does. It's crazy to think that somebody with such a distinct face as Missy Pyle can actually disappear into a role, but she disappears into that role for sure.
That's the power of the unibrow, man.
So,
I wonder if Juliette Lewis got cast because the casting of her as the mom to what's her name that plays the daughter in this?
Diana Silvers.
So believable. Like
It
they
is.
really do look like they could be
do.
a mother-daughter
That's
couple.
also an interesting sort of coincidence story too. Diana Silvers, one of the main inspirations for her getting into acting was What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Oh.
Isn't Juliette Lewis in that?
Yeah, I think so. Wait.
No.
I don't know. We need to get Fuzzbeat on that. He
Yeah.
needs to do some research. Fuzzbeat!
Fuzzbeat here. Hollywood Steve is correct.
I will tell you a really interesting thing about Juliette Lewis being in this movie.
Go for it.
It does create a very odd hyper-meta paradox that occurs with some very specific dialogue that she says early in the movie.
Okay.
She makes reference to the fact that she's watching a John Hughes movie marathon.
Uh-huh.
Juliette Lewis was in a John Hughes movie.
She was
in Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
So that means that this person lives in a world where there is an actual Juliette Lewis who is
Right.
like her fucking clone.
Looks exactly like her mom.
Yeah. And so she probably gets told all the time, hey, you look just like Juliette Lewis.
She probably does. Yeah. I didn't even consider that. That's fun.
Yeah. It's kind of strange.
It is.
What do you think about the kids in this? Of course, our main characters like kids. Maggie and all that bunch.
Yeah. So Diana Silvers is great. She's also in Booksmart. She's also in Glass.
Booksmart's hilarious, by the way. That's
Booksmart's
really
great. So good. And she's
I
great
heard Glass is terrible.
I haven't seen it yet. But Diana Silvers, she's really good. She's gorgeous, too. Absolutely gorgeous girl.
Yeah, totally.
McKaylee Miller, that plays Haley, also gorgeous. Like she has more of a background in like TV and stuff. She was in a Disney show. Can't remember what it was called. I didn't write it down. Anyway, but she's I think perfect for the role. Like
yeah,
I think
kind of the big mouth sort of friend.
Right, but
like
she's
a little obnoxious in parties and stuff.
She's a little obnoxious, but she's also the most charming of the group. Like she definitely has the most character of anybody of the kids. Like
and that was a problem with me too with this movie, and I realize it's like maybe it is kind of saying something that at that age you don't have a fully realized personality yet, but I think that me and my friends and stuff were all more fleshed out personality wise than these characters. Like other than the fact that Haley is kind of the mouthy one, it's like name off one character trait of any of the kids. There's the two white boys that look like clones of each other. I can only tell them apart in the movie by which girl they're with. That's the only way I could tell which
I think
one was
Chaz
which.
is like one. Chaz has the quality of he's kind of rude, but like I don't know. It doesn't seem to offend anyone. Like so, like his, I guess maybe he's actually really funny and we don't know it because they don't show that. I don't know.
Like maybe.
Yeah,
but it's like there's none of them that fit into any kind of, for lack of a better word, trope. Like there's not one of them that's the jock. There's not one of them that's the nerd, the brainiac, like the funny guy. Like they're all just kind of flat characters other than Haley. Like even our main chick Maggie, like I can't really tell you anything about her character.
Well, she's the new girl.
Like,
that's it.
Yeah, she's a new girl, so she's like kind of shy, but that's not a character trait. Being new somewhere is not a character trait. That's just a result of the fact that you moved.
That is something to remember when watching a lot of 90s movies. Having moved somewhere is not a character trait. It seems to be the character trait of so many characters in a lot of 90s movies.
Absolutely so, man. So I just can't say there's much to her character or any of the other kids too, which honestly made it hard for me to really feel the suspense whenever stuff starts getting real and weird in the movie. It's like, Octavia Spencer might as well have been holding a knife up to the neck of a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, because you don't care. You just don't care about them. Right, yeah. I
think that a little bit more like fleshing out, a little more personality. I mean, even a movie like a comedy like Superbad shows you just how well you can flesh out and develop teenage characters and make them likable and care about what's going on with them and their relationships and stuff. This was just so flat to me.
I think, so basically, Scotty Landis wrote this, and there was no backstory to Ma at all. And I think in taking it on, Tate Taylor wanted to add a backstory to add like connection to the bad character, which is a pretty common thing in horror movies now. For some reason, everybody wants to connect to the person who's killing everyone. But so he wanted people to connect to her. And I think in making the connection to her, he didn't also bolster the other characters, because I think the original script seems to have been just more of a straight horror movie where it's like we don't necessarily care that these characters are dying, but it's fun.
That's like a very slasher kind of thing to do, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was the script they were working on, and when they bolstered the Sue Ann, the Ma character, they didn't also come in and make the kid characters more believable and realistic to make it like commiserate, where like we get so much about Ma and there's so much character to her and so much development to her that at the end of this movie, I was thinking, just as I watched it again before this, I was thinking like, I think the only people I really care about are Ma and Maggie. Like Maggie doesn't do any wrong, and she's the one we see most of the events through, so like we care about her somewhat, and I care about Ma. I feel bad for the things that happened to her and the way she was treated.
Yeah, totally.
It's hard at the end for this to feel much like a horror movie. I just feel bad.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And also, too, just the fact that, Octavia is such an incredible actress, and she, her character gets so much more backstory and personality than the other ones. It makes them even flatter.
Yeah, it does. It does make them seem so much flatter. I was really enamored with Octavia Spencer's performance and how, after about an hour in, I think it goes at a really good pace. But up to that point, it's slow. Like the first hour is slow. Not much happens. It's not until Mercedes, Missy Pyle, gets run over by a truck. And I can't an hour not and 10 laugh into at the movie. It's the funniest fucking moment, dude. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, "What?" Like, because it's just out of nowhere.
You know how much I love in movies whenever somebody gets hit by a car.
Yeah,
like, it's funny. Always something that I absolutely love. Dude, like Meet Joe Black, like seeing him get hit by 2 cars is the funniest thing in fucking movie history.
It really
I don't know why,
it's just...
but I just always love getting to see that. One time on a preview palace, we'll have to do a list of like best times somebody got hit by a car.
Funniest hit by a car moments.
But even whenever Mercedes gets hit, that's the first kill in the movie.
Yeah.
That is an hour and 10 in. That's 30 minutes from the end of the movie.
Yeah, and that's where it all takes off and is really good. I think
fast.
Gets fast and good, and I love like because that the character is so developed, we are connected to her, but if they hadn't done as much character development and gotten to that point, she's still menacing as fuck. Like, she's so good at being menacing. We don't have to have as much character development as we get, I don't think.
Well, here's the thing, though, is if those kills and stuff like that were spaced out differently, it could have made the character of Ma a lot more ominous and menacing, and also added a lot to the B story and stuff.
Yeah,
like, let's say early on in the movie, she's kind of taken a shine to Juliette Lewis's character because she seems to like really, admire her.
Yeah,
and hang out with her and be good
they
to her
seem
and
to
stuff.
have some connection. Like at least she doesn't think Erica is bad like the other people she went to school with.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like if she would have done her that favor of killing Mercedes earlier in the movie, and then part of the B story is
she
the
tells
cops
her,
are trying to figure out. Or like the cops are trying to figure out like who killed this person.
Yeah,
and then other people, in that circle of people in that community, other people start getting killed, like Allison Janney, the boss and stuff.
Right.
They could have paced that out better.
Right. Instead of it all happening in an afternoon. Right.
In an afternoon. Yeah, exactly.
Like she becomes Richard Ramirez at the height of his crime spree, where she's just like, I'm going to kill 50 people.
Yeah, today I'm going to do the worst shit ever, and that's it. Just king for a day right there.
Yeah.
It could have done a better job of showing that her insanity and her morality was getting more and more twisted and really building, but also, too, you could also have that great, like, the trap is starting to close in on her, and the cops are putting the pieces together as to who could have done this.
Yeah.
And then that would also give you a good reason why, at the end, cops will show up and shit like that. Like, this is classic, easy to do storytelling.
The cop does show up, but it's like, why? Kind of. It's just because the mom called or whatever, right? Like, I don't even remember why the cop shows up.
I don't either. That's something that, like, I thought that I missed the first time, but even watching it this second time, which is just like an hour or so ago, I was like, why did that cop show up? He was just driving by and was like, we saw some bottles and cans in your yard and there's cars here. Is there something you want to tell us? Last time I checked, I don't think that cops will stop at your house because you have
not in the
bottles
country.
And cans and cars.
Yeah.
Fuck no, not in the country.
I mean, this is shot in Mississippi and obviously supposed to be in the South. Like, everybody's talking with some semblance of a Southern accent. Like,
well, except that all the license plates are Ohio plates.
Oh, right. They weren't they?
Yeah, why?
And they're in a casino. Are there casinos in Ohio? There are casinos in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Not in Ohio.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think.
I'm not sure.
All right. Anyway.
But yeah, like, I think that the pacing of those kills and stuff could have been done a lot better and given the B story something to do. Because really, like you said, the B and C stories aren't really there for much anything other than giving you more stuff about Ma and her character.
So our B story is Diana Silver's Maggie, and she's in with this new set of friends, and she has a boyfriend now, Andy Hawkins, who has a dad who, as a high schooler, set up a rape. That was cool of him.
Unsavory. Now that was something that was kind of a surprise in the movie. I was like, oh shit.
That they did a real good job of slowly revealing like why she hated them.
I don't even know the slow reveal is all that necessary, though, because it's like very obvious that she got badly mistreated in school and stuff. So it's like doing this kind of inching forward, like, here's a flashback. Here's a little more of that flashback. Right. What do you think happened in this flashback?
What do you think happened? You over there.
Yeah, it's like by this point, I'm already like, well, something very bad happened. I can figure this out because of how crazy she is and how she's so fixated on her high school and stuff like this. Like, it doesn't really make it better to inch that thing forward to me.
Yeah, but it is a really surprising reveal. Basically, if you, for some reason, are watching this without, or listening to this without having watched it, the reveal is that this guy, Ben, who Octavia Spencer, Sue Ann, has a crush on in high school, basically says, why don't you give me a blowjob in a closet? So she goes into this dark closet and gives this guy a blowjob, and then it turns out it's not Ben, it's somebody else. And then everybody's waiting outside the closet to laugh at her.
That's really fucked up.
Being
like,
raped.
That's very, very fucking awful.
I mean, I can see it, honestly, from just knowledge of 80s movies, that's something that in the 80s would happen in an 80s movie. Is that something that would happen in real life, where a bunch of people would be like, ha 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 ha, you got tricked into having sex or giving a blowjob to a person you didn't want to give a blowjob to? Ha ha.
Ha 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 ha.
I just
Great
don't
prank.
feel like that would have ever happened. But maybe.
Probably not.
Maybe. The world has changed some. Yeah.
I hope that we're right in thinking that would never happen, but humanity knows no boundaries.
That's true. Man, you know what? You're right. And honestly, it probably has happened. And if it has, sorry. Life fucking sucked. People are terrible.
Yeah. But you know, the thing is with that kind of being the impetus of her entire character and why she is the way she is.
You
and
get
stuff.
it.
Yeah. I mean, that's fucking horrible.
Right.
But I also kind of wonder, it's like, I wonder why they chose to go that angle with it, because
yeah, and that wasn't in the original script. As I said, there was no backstory. So this is Tate Taylor working this out. Yeah, why do that?
Yeah, and the original casting of Sue Ann was for a white woman.
Right.
And after Octavia was interested, they were like, okay, we'll change it to a black person.
Yeah.
And there's undertones throughout the movie
of racism. Yeah.
Of racism, but they're never really explored. And I'm like, did they
I think that's
chicken out a little bit? Like, why didn't they pursue that more? Like, there's that part where Darrell is talking with her, and he's like, yeah, and the people underneath those boats and stuff, talking about the slave trade and all that jazz.
Yeah.
In Octavia's house, she has all these, like, African masks and stuff down there. And, of course, obviously, at the end, Darrell gets painted with whiteface.
Yeah, there's a good bit about race going on between Sue Ann and Darrell, but not dealing with race between white people and black people. But I think that is actually because Octavia Spencer from the South, Tate Taylor also from the South. I think it's a actual accurate representation of race relations in the South. Is you don't talk about it. Like the underlying like menace that you sort of feel like is the prank racially motivated and stuff like that. Like that's all still there, but like what in I guess it's supposed to be the 80s that they were in high school together. Like in the 80s, like it would have made no sense to have the character say like you guys are racist because it's the 80s. Like, so, like, it can't be overt. And then, like, I do think there are moments where I see what you're saying where it could have been put in. Like, it is more likely that Ben Hawkins would have gotten racist with her.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know he's a bad guy. And he obviously does not like her. And it's the South. Like, he would have likely gotten racist with her.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of right there, just sort of, you know, waiting to be added into the story.
Yep. So yeah.
But then again, I mean, Tate Taylor's he's a white dude, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he just felt like this is not my story to tell.
Right. That's a good point.
Just to be like, I can't really write this because I wasn't a part of it, you know, directly. Like this is
written
something
by
I've
a white
experienced.
dude and then revised by another white dude. Yeah. I think that's fair.
But then if that's the case, then why even have these little seeds of racism and racial overtones?
And if that's the case, why not bring in Octavia Spencer and be like, okay, can you input on the script?
Give me some perspective.
Yeah, give me some perspective so we can really portray that. I mean, because she was born in Mississippi, I think, raised in Alabama. Like, I
mean, that's racist country right there. You know she's been through some shit.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, her experience would probably have made more sense, but maybe they didn't want to get lost in the weeds on that. Like, they didn't want this to be a statement about racism. They wanted it to be a vehicle for Octavia where maybe race just doesn't get brought up. So she can just shine, and then people can, like when I said that this is, you know, one of the best examples of a black female horror villain, you hadn't even thought about it because it hadn't been overt about race. Maybe that was what they were going for. Like, by avoiding the race talk, you can avoid just looking at her as a black female villain and just see her as a really good villain.
Well, and also avoid I think the commentary you'd get from a lot of people that were just like, oh, you know, her performance is okay, but you just feel bad for her because it's about racism.
Right. That's true.
You know what I mean? And you kind of sidestep that.
By not bringing that in, that you feel bad for her because of the terrible thing that happened to her. That can't be dismissed as, you know, whatever.
And, you know, the thing to me about her character in this, and just the whole movie in general, is like, more than it being scary and more than her being like an intimidating figure, it's just sad to me. Like, it's a sad movie. It's something movie too that, like,
it's got a sad ending for sure.
Like, it does.
It's not happy. You're not happy that the killer's dying. Like, just not happy.
Right. And I like that it does kind of explore something that I've definitely never seen in a horror movie, but also just not really other movies in general, is the people that are older or getting older and choose to, like, hang out with kids in an effort to make themselves feel cool.
We've seen
That's
it, like,
extremely fucking
like
sad
Amy
to me.
Poehler in Mean Girls. Like, we've seen it as, like, the joke, but yeah, you don't see a serious look at it too much. Where the people who are stuck in high school, basically, that just wish that they had been more popular or were popular in high school and want to recapture that by hanging out with high schoolers. Yeah.
Either way, that's sad as fuck.
It is.
And I think we've all met those people. You know, it's like, I know that I've been at those people's houses and been like, okay, you're like 30 years older than me. Why do you want to hang out with me and my friends? Like, you end up at those places, like, while you're partying or while you're on tour or whatever. And it's just like, okay, there's something about this that at its core is not very cool.
Yeah.
How old do you think she is in this movie?
I mean, I'm thinking they're going for, like, probably junior or senior in high school, right? Like, they're not talking about graduation or anything. So, Octavia. Oh, well, yeah, as I said, I think that they looked like they were probably going for the 80s high school, so they've been out of high school for 30 years.
Yeah, so they're probably 40-ish, right?
Yeah, 40-ish.
So older than us. Like, how much would somebody have to pay you to hang around a bunch of drunk 17-year-olds? Holy fuck. You couldn't get me to do that with as much money as you could muster, dude.
What fun would that be?
It would be awful.
I don't want to hang around 17-year-olds sober.
No. Much less getting fucking rip shit drunk? No fucking way. There is no price tag you could put on that to make it worth my fucking time.
No. Yeah, so there's obviously something wrong, but the movie plays that well because
it does.
Because both Juliette Lewis and fucking Luke Evans, who plays Ben, they both react like this is weird to finding out that their kids are hanging out over there. Like, Ben is very angry. Juliette Lewis is very angry.
Well, and also, too, it does a pretty good job of showing us that these kids are, you know, they're hanging out with Ma and they're partying at her house and drinking her liquor and stuff like this, but whenever she's not making direct eye contact, they're kind of like side-eyeing each other like, can you believe this bitch? Like, it shows you that the kids really aren't interested in being her friend.
No.
They just want to party with her. So it also kind of gives you the angle that like the kids in this aren't necessarily innocent or 100% like the good guys or whatever. Like they're totally just using this woman as a vehicle to have somewhere to get drunk. Like they don't care about her character. All they want to do is find another place to party. So I think that it does a good job of showing that even the kids know, like,
this is weird.
This isn't our friend. This is just somebody who wants to hang out with us and will buy us booze. So what the fuck ever. Which is your attitude when you're like not able to buy booze and stuff like that.
Oh, dude, the scene where they're like trying to stop people and ask them to buy booze, like I did that. I remember. I remembered specifically while watching it the second time. This one time, my cousin Casey and I, we just walked to the Fast Stop, a convenience store near our grandparents' house where we were staying that night, and we asked people as they got out of their car to buy us beer, and like we'd asked maybe 2 people and gotten told like no, and then so awesome. My brother's friend Barry's brother pulled into the parking lot, and I was like, oh fuck, I know that guy. So like ran over to him, and I was like, dude, you gotta buy us beer. And he and I had drank together. He didn't know how old we were, but he definitely knew we weren't old enough, because I think we were 14 at the time. He had drank with me though, so he was like, all right, like just don't tell anybody. And then he was like, look, I'm gonna give you a ride back to your grandma's house because I can't have you walking down the road carrying 2 12-packs of beer.
Yeah. Pretty easy target at that point.
Yeah. So this just reminded me so much of that story, and thank you, Elmer.
But if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I'm somebody who's a grown-ass adult and I have young underage people over to my house to drink all the time, I want you to know they're just hanging out with you because you'll get them booze.
Yeah, that is true.
I'm sorry, but it's true. I mean, it's like that might hurt a little bit, but that's just how it is, man.
Yeah.
And again, that's to me one of the things about this movie that is really sad.
Yeah.
With the character of Ma is that
she thinks they do like her.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing about it is that you meet people in life that were like super cool early. Like all of us had those kings of high school,
right?
Well, I didn't, obviously. I guess it was my older brother because I was homeschooled. I was never the king of high school.
You were the dorkiest kid at your school.
I absolutely was, man.
Never thought
but I think that pretty much everybody has those friends that were like the coolest kid in high school, and they're popular early or in college or whatever. And then after real life starts, they're just like, oh, I'm just another guy that works in an office.
Yeah,
and then meanwhile, I think that and then meanwhile too, I think that there's the opposite side of that where, I mean, golly, dude, so many of us and our creative heroes and stuff like that, people that entertain the entire world, were not cool all the way through school. They were the ones that got picked on and harassed.
Yeah,
constantly,
and they
were
moved
the fucking
on.
Lame ones.
Isn't that
they got cool later?
I think that's like part of the drive. Like what drives so many people to become something better or more is being just not acknowledged, like not recognized as interesting or different, and so you actually work on yourself and try to make yourself better, and then you want to get out and go somewhere else and be a part of a different scene, and that just makes you better and better and better as you go.
Totally. Well, and too, if you are different or ugly or have an unusual body type or whatever, you try to find some way to make yourself redeeming in social circles, whether that means I can play guitar real good or I can make everybody laugh or whatever. I mean, that's super, super common, and that usually develops into people getting cool late in life.
Yeah.
So you have early cool people, you have late cool people, and then you also have a handful of people that are just never fucking cool, and that's super sad.
Well, I think there's a fourth group of people that are just always cool as well.
Or they're just always cool. Yeah.
I was like, man, you got 2 real bad angles there. You can either have a shitty high school experience and bloom later, or just always suck.
But yeah, you know what I mean? It's like there's people that just kind of fall through the cracks sometimes.
Yeah,
and that's what this movie
absolutely.
is about. I mean, the character of Sue Ann is just never fit in really anywhere ever, and those people are out there, and that's again really sad to me.
Well, and it can be really hard to move on. I mean, this movie is definitely exploring trauma and the ways that the sins of parents can fall on their children. Like,
it's Elm Streety in that way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It very much is. But yeah, like she is traumatized. She's not only like, outed in front of the whole school as having performed oral sex on a boy that she did not want to perform oral sex on. She before that was just nobody. Like, she seemed to be fine with just getting on with being quiet and not noticed. And now everybody notices her for a negative reason.
Right.
And I think, like, for a lot of people, and it seems like it triggers something in her, and that happens a lot with people where, like, at a formative age, some big scary thing happens and really changes the way you are for the rest of your life, and makes it hard for people to change and be different because it's just always there in the back of their mind. So
sure,
it's believable. It's sad more than scary.
Yeah, and it's sad because it is believable, because people who went through some really fucked up shit in high school that is still sticking with them, even in their adult age and stuff.
Yep, for sure.
It's just sad. And then also too, you get the fact that she goes out of her way to try to overprotect her daughter and keep her home and keep telling her that she's sick and stuff like that, because it's kind of the Carrie defense. They're all gonna laugh at you.
That was definitely, like, she was poisoning her daughter, right? Like, she was not sick, as far as I could tell.
No, I don't get the impression of that. But the daughter thing, I don't know. To me, that was kind of a weak reveal, because we have, one of the first things that Maggie experiences when she goes to school is Jeannie.
Yeah, in a wheelchair.
Like her power chair is the batteries are dying and stuff, and she has to help her and all that jazz. And then it's like an hour or so of the movie goes by, you don't even see Jeannie again at all, period. In school, nothing. And then it's just like, oh, I'm her daughter. And it's like, okay, I forgot you were in this movie by now. And then also, too, if Jeannie can fucking walk, why was she going around school in a wheelchair?
Well, it's possible, and I would assume that her mother was injecting her with stuff to keep her from being able to walk. Like, she's giving her all these drugs. I mean, we see her working at the veterinarian, and the veterinarian even recommends her taking ketamine to fix her headache or whatever. So, like, these drugs are being slung around like crazy. I think she's maybe like was mimicking the need for a wheelchair by injecting her with stuff.
Okay, I guess.
Once she pulled her out of school, she didn't have to keep doing that. So now she can walk around at home.
Yeah. It seems like there's just like a separate movie going on.
Yeah, there's
about
definitely
a mom that was bullied in school and passing that along to her daughter, even though nothing bad has even happened to her daughter. Like, that's its own movie right there.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you just
not even a background element.
You pitched a pretty good sequel. Like, if somebody wanted to make Ma 2 with Jeannie, I could see that happening.
Ma 2, Electric Boogaloo. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, to me overall, it's just more of a sad story about people that are just trying to feel cool. I mean, everybody wants to feel cool. Everybody wants acceptance.
Yeah.
From their peers and their social group and stuff like this. Everybody has to find it at some point, and the people that just never really find it and keep looking for it, even in young people, even when they're adults and stuff, that's just real fucking sad to me, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Horror is about addressing the human condition, and I think this movie does that really well. So it fits very well into the genre while being a bummer.
I gotta say, though, I do think it's kind of weird that the the kids continued hanging out with her over and over.
Yeah, but
I mean, after the first time that they're over there, she pulls a gun on one of them and makes them strip completely fucking naked in front of their friends. Is that not coming in a little too hot?
It's coming in hot, but dude, I'll tell you, I in the South growing up, drinking and needing people to buy you beer and whatnot, and also being a marijuana smoker, so having to go to some weird drug dealer houses.
Yeah.
I went through some crazy fucking shit like that and then would go back because they had weed or you could get beer. Like it wouldn't be like, yay. It was still like the way these kids address it, where it's just kind of like,
gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah.
Well, that is one of the elements of this movie that I do think that it does very well, is really kind of sum up that small town, especially Southern kind of vibe, where it's like,
it nails that. Yeah.
There's nothing to do in this town. Like they don't even show us like there's a mall. Let's go hang out at the mall.
They go hang out at like a rock area. What is that? Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's so common too. I mean, like the town that we grew up in didn't have a fucking movie theater. It got a Walmart when we were like 14.
Well, super
just nothing
Walmart.
There.
Yeah.
Super Walmart. Yeah, it's true. We did have the regular one.
Yeah.
The real low rent one there in that shopping center, didn't we?
Yeah.
But it does a good job of just kind of summing up what it is like to live in those towns where it's just like, I don't know, let's go hang out at these rocks. Like we used to go hang out at the dam all the time.
Yeah, I remember cruising the dam.
There's nothing there.
You just drive back and forth. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing that you can't do at a dam that you could just do hanging out with your friends, but you just feel the need to go somewhere because that's what people in movies do.
Might as well. And the dam is a big thing, and there's light there. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also not the prying eyes of your parents, so you can, sip a pint of SoCo over there.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah,
and also
it nails that.
And also, too, the way that you have, authority figures cutting kids slack because they played football with their dad and shit like that. Like, that's
nailed that 100%.
Small town.
That is a definite. Also, just knowing your grandparents or knowing your parents and liking them would get you off. Yeah.
Yeah, they do that thing very well to me. That's one of the areas where this kind of excels, is the people that grew up in a small town.
I mean, I
never left a small town. Yeah, the small town vibe is definitely represented in this. What do you think about well, there's not really a lot of kills in this movie, honestly, but what do you think about kind of the kills and the gore that we are presented with? We got the Mercedes kill we talked about earlier, which is
the best. Yeah.
Again, that's the best one, obviously.
But
what do you think about when is it Ben, who's one of their dads?
Yeah, Ben
Hawkins, like tied to the bed.
Yeah,
get a full dick shot in this movie. Didn't see that coming.
Full dick shot. So she
looks to be a handful too. He's kind of packing a hog.
Old Dracula, that Luke Evans.
He's a Dracula?
Yeah, he was in Dracula Untold.
I never saw that. Okay.
It was supposed to be part of the dark universe they were creating.
Oh, that thing.
And then they were like, no, that wasn't. This next one is. And then that one failed. And they were like, no, what do you mean dark universe? We never said dark universe.
That was just sarcasm. It's a real presidential
go drink some
defense.
fucking bleach.
That was sarcasm. Just kidding.
The way, though, that she kills each of the people other than Mercedes, it's got some poetry to it. Like
it's a sleepaway camp kill.
Yeah, like she puts dog blood into Ben Hawkins because he's a dog. She says, like the way he treats women, he is a dog.
Which again is that's also kind of Freddy-ish, isn't it?
Yes,
These
it
kind
is
of themed kills.
Very Nightmare on Elm Street. She does that, like the kid who I guess is supposed to be athletic, Chaz, who has the flat stomach, which she mentions specifically flat stomachs. She irons his stomach. She paints the black kid's face white because she says she is the token black friend of the group or whatever. What is she? Oh, she sews
her mouth.
She
shut.
sews Haley, the girl who's talkative, sews her lip shut. Like, each of the kills aside from Mercedes seems to be tailored to but of course those aren't kills. She doesn't kill any of the kids.
I was gonna say that's just torture. She also stabs that one kid in the fucking stomach.
That's true. She just stabs him, which is an interesting thing because she has she had a crush on Ben Hawkins and now has a crush on his son, Andy. I do feel like that is an appropriate, like, themed sort of thing, because I believe it's her seeing Andy as a young, malleable, controllable Ben, and she is taking the active sort of masculine role in this. So in this way, she's penetrating him with the knife, like,
I'll be doing the stabbing here, young man.
And it all ends with her going up and cuddling up next to Ben Hawkins. So it's like her actual crush had always been Ben. She wasn't really having this crush on Andy. It was about getting to Ben and just controlling Andy.
Yeah.
So I still think the theme is there, but with Mercedes, it really is just off theme. Like, she just sees her out, runs her over. But I think that has to do with the fact that she really does think she's doing it for Juliette Lewis. Like, it's not a kill for her, so it doesn't matter how she dies. She just thinks she's doing it for her friend.
She's also kind of in that age group that's a little bit before the concept of branding, making your own personal brand.
Maybe she didn't think about it with the first kill. She was like, after that, she was like, you know what? I need a brand and a hashtag.
I need an aesthetic here, you know? But, here's the thing is, like, okay, I'll say, like, the special effects makeup and stuff, like, while she's, like, sewing Haley's mouth shut and stuff, it does look really good.
Yeah, it does.
What was the long-term plan here? I got these kids in my basement. They're all doped up on dog tranquilizers and shit. I'm going to sew this one's mouth shut. I'm going to paint this one's face. I'm going to stab this one. And I'm going to iron this guy's stomach. After they wake up, is it just like, you're free to leave? What happens after that?
This is an office killer situation, like, where she's going to kill them and keep them in her basement to come hang out with them.
I guess, but I don't know. Well, even with the way that she kills Ben, which, she should have got it right, man. We should have learned from Danzig. It's not dog's blood, it's wolf's blood. That's what you're looking for.
That's what you need. The dog's blood doesn't do it. You need wolf blood.
She puts the dog blood in him and then just slashes his wrist.
Yeah, well, I think maybe the thinking there was that the dog blood will probably hurt him a lot, but it might not kill him.
But she waited like 10 seconds and then just killed him anyway.
Right.
So why even do it?
I don't know. I guess just for the theatrics, honestly. Like, just to let him know. Like, it seems she's been thinking about her revenge on him for 30 years, so, like, she really wanted the theatrics, but then also wanted to make sure he did die.
I guess. But I don't know, like, stuff like that is, I'm just like, what was the plan?
I wish she had laid it out, like, at the end. Like, somebody had just been like, "Oh, what's your plan?" And she would have been like, "My plan?" And then, like, some major global domination plan.
I needed a Kevin McAllister map here.
That would have been nice, yeah.
I needed the McAllister map to really point this thing home to me, because I just couldn't really figure out, like, okay, so is this how you're getting revenge on the people that are mean to you at high school? You're going to sew one of their daughter's mouth shut?
Yeah.
But that's not permanent, lasting damage. You didn't kill her. You also didn't, harm her parents, who are the ones that actually did bad stuff to her.
I think it doesn't stand up to too much, like, pressure. Like, the moment you start questioning much of it, it starts falling apart. But the first time I watched the movie, I enjoyed it.
I feel that, man.
Yeah.
And I'll say, too, another thing about this that did kind of bug me, and her as a veterinarian should have known better. She's got all the kids locked up downstairs with, like, there's like choke collars around them, like the prong collars for walking your dog.
Mm-hmm.
Those things have a horrible reputation because people think it'll fucking hurt your dog and stuff. They don't. They're great training implements. You don't leave them on your dog 24/7, duh.
Okay.
Those prong collars and stuff will not make those kind of marks appear on your neck. Especially they were wearing them like real loose and stuff.
See what you're
saying. They won't poke your... they had like abrasions and stuff on their throats. And it's like, there's no way that would happen. They're super dull, just blunt prongs. They're used to put pressure against a dog's neck if they pull on a collar. They don't hurt an animal. I've seen people get freaked out about them because we walk our dog with one and they're like, "What are you doing to your dog? Is it hurting her?" And it's like, no, absolutely not. After you're done walking him, you take it off.
Yeah. It keeps her from running off.
Exactly.
She's a very large
bad
dog.
Name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, those things get a bad name. I didn't like seeing them put in here too, because especially her as a vet would know, that actually doesn't work.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So I guess if we're down to like final thoughts on this, for me, I think the original purpose was to show how awesome Octavia Spencer is, and it
did it.
It succeeds in that. I think in general it's well shot. It looks good, well acted. They obviously were able to put together a film that, on first watching, like without really thinking too much about it, I do think this is a good like go to the movies type of movie. But once you start pushing, once you start looking at the blurry edges and really seeing where it falls apart,
don't tug on the threads of this movie.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's also not bad. It just is inconsistent, and the pacing issues are a problem. It's for what it is enjoyable, but don't think about it too much. And if I were to put a number to this, I'd say this is kind of middle of the road for me. I'm gonna say it's about a 5.
I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
And I think that what you said is very valid there, where it's like it totally is just a vehicle to showcase Octavia Spencer. I would love to see her in more starring roles. I'd love to see her in more horror roles too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she pulls off a lot of stuff in this movie that I think that on paper would have been like, oh no, that's fucking cheesy, take that out.
Exactly.
Like even that scene where she's like, I think she's cutting out the photos and stuff, and she's kind of singing that song to herself.
Uh-huh.
That's the kind of thing that I usually gripe about, and I'm like, oh man, it's so fucking cheesy when that character is singing that cute little song to themselves while doing something twisted. But she actually pulls it off.
She does. She pulls off a lot of moments that could have been iffy. The gun pulling moment could have been really bad without somebody just committed to pulling it off.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that. Did you notice the soundtrack?
I didn't really.
Exactly. The original soundtrack is pretty fucking half-assed.
Yeah.
It's like 2 or 3 different, very short, very not memorable, like 80s synthesizer parts.
Wow, yeah, that didn't really stand out at all.
Exactly. It's really just not even there. There's a bunch of licensed music in it. That's about it. Pacing to me is just really off, where it just feels like there's no forward momentum, I think is the best way I can kind of describe it. It's kind of like where the characters start, they just kind of stay there.
Yeah.
I never feel like characters are really growing in any way, or that we're learning more about them, other than, again, the reveal about Ma's traumatic incident and stuff like that. I don't feel like the stakes ever get raised. I don't feel like shit gets crazy or anything like that. It just kind of like cruises at about 40 miles per hour about the whole movie.
Yeah, that's true. It gets you from point A to point B without ever getting too exciting.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, my favorite things about it are definitely, obviously, Octavia Spencer, and the fact that it explores, like we talked about, that subject of old people that hang out with young people to be cool again or whatever, which is sad and definitely a thing and something that isn't really represented in movies very much. I think that a lot of the dialogue from the kids is just super forgettable and doesn't tell me anything about their characters.
Right.
And a lot of it just seems very like first draft kind of dialogue to me. Almost kind of like that, what we talked about Twilight, where they were just like, is this just placeholder dialogue? Like,
yeah. And then here he'll say something like this. And then they get to the day and they're like, oh, we never figured out what he would say. Just say that, I guess.
Yeah, so there's that part where he's with, the dude is with Maggie, and he's like, and put a lot of ketchup on it. Like talking about getting some fries or something. It's like, why is that
they were
here?
talking about egg rolls. He wants a lot of ketchup on his egg rolls.
That shows who the true psycho in this movie is.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I like ketchup. I don't understand the ketchup hate, but like putting ketchup on everything, egg rolls.
Well, there's always that fucking person, dude. There's always that person at every table.
Yeah, that's just like ketchup on everything. Give me a well done steak and toss ketchup on it.
Vote for me.
Yuck. Oh, fuck. I forgot that was a real thing about him. Jesus. That was a thing I like. That is a complaint I've had since I started serving tables, like in 2001 or whatever. Like, it was just like always like, oh yeah, the worst customers you ever have are gonna order a well done steak and eat it with ketchup, and then and now it's our president. Anyway, go ahead.
Again, those are just facts. That's not just facts. Political.
Yeah,
those are facts.
He does eat well done steak with ketchup,
and those people are psychopaths.
That is
we can all agree on that.
That is absolutely true.
So yeah, I don't know. It's not one of those movies that I'm gonna like rush to watch anytime again, unless somebody's just like, show me the greatest movie Octavia Spencer has been in, where she just kicks ass in a role. I'd be like, okay, it's probably this one.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, because she's always in the the sidekicks or roles or whatever. This is the first time where she got to really, really kick ass. So yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. So I think for me, I'm gonna go a little bit lower than you. I think this is a little less than middle of the road. I'm gonna say like a 4 for me.
That's fair.
But on the bright side, it's streaming for free right now if you got like Hulu and stuff.
It's true.
So
yeah, it's on the HBO, I believe, on Hulu, or is it just on Hulu? I can't remember.
One or the other. I can't remember, man.
It's there though, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah. Not all that bad, but just not all that great or memorable to me, which I don't know if that's going to be the case with our movie next week on the show. I hope that it's memorably horrible. Sometimes it's like when something's so middle of the road that it's not amazing enough to be memorable or horrible enough to be memorable. That's the biggest offense for me.
It is, yeah.
And I hope that the movie that we're doing next week on the show is memorably fucking shitty.
Don't you worry. I can almost guarantee that Final Destination 2 will reach your shitty level just exactly as you want it. Final Destination 2, I have said this before about it. The opening scene of Final Destination 2 is a nightmare of mine, and Final Destination 2 put it in my head. So at the very least, it does have that going for it.
Okay, right on, man. And if you've not listened to our original Final Destination episode that we did a long time ago, it's a blast because it's just me reveling in 90s nostalgia and Steven just hate fucking the shit out of this movie.
So yeah, I'm excited to get back to the Final Destination series. Yeah,
that's streaming for free right now.
Yeah,
too,
it's
right?
on Netflix.
Okay, so everybody tune in for that one. Buckle up, because that's going to be a fun, probably very stupid episode.
I imagine.
In the meantime, you guys can follow us on social media.
At Dead Lovely Pod on Twitter and Instagram. On Facebook, we're facebook.com/Dead and Lovely. And on the thing, Patreon. Patreon.com/Dead and Lovely.
The thing?
Yeah, head on over there. Final Destination 2 is a Patreon submission. We normally do every month. We do a random drawing from Patreon submissions, but this movie, I just figured like I needed extra time to finish my first episode of my podcast, and there's no way Final Destination 2 is going to take a lot of research. And every time I think that, it ends up being the most research-intensive movie. So that should be fun.
Well, yeah, you guys be sure to sign up for that Patreon and help support the show and stuff like that. We definitely appreciate it. And also go on iTunes, rate and review the show. Hell, it's not even iTunes anymore. Fuck me. It's like Apple Podcast, I guess is what it is now, right? That seems to be the only place where you can still leave reviews for podcasts and help them show up in search engines and stuff. So if you want to help the show out, without even spending a dime, just go on Apple Podcasts, rate and review the show wherever you can, and at the end of your review, leave a question that you would like to get answered on a future FAQ portion of Preview Palace. We did one a couple weeks ago. It was a lot of fun. You guys have some good questions and shit, so be sure to put that stuff up on your review, and we will answer it on a later episode.
You know, there are some good places to leave reviews, Ben, and I just realized this. Your social media. Let people know you love the Dead and Lovely podcast by recommending it to them on social media.
That's true.
That's how we've gotten so many of our listeners. They've gotten a recommendation from somebody or heard a good thing from somebody they know. So just head out there, let them know. Dead and Lovely, best horror movie podcast out there.
Share it up, y'all. Share it up. I hope everybody out there is staying happy and healthy and staying the fuck home. Don't listen to your politicians. They're full of shit.
They really are.
Yep. So please keep staying healthy and at home as much as you can. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will catch you guys next week. You guys have been fantastic. We've been dead and lovely.
See you later now.
You know, really, though, could you imagine the absolute trauma that would happen if you just went to a nice Chinese takeout? You sit down, you order yourself a meal.
Right.
The drumstick comes out. You have a bite, and your brain stops ticking.
Just stops all of a sudden.
That would be so humiliating.
I think it would take me at least a week to get over that.
I'm pretty sure that it would.